So here we have the console application now turns into a Maui application. The we now have the application's features all converted over into a Maui application with all the same features as the ones from assignment one. So the new stuff is mostly the shopping cart service has adapted to the one we've worked on in class. So I've switched over to this one instead. And so now I've switched over to this one, and then the changes I've done compared to the one in class is what I've mostly done in difference to what the version in class that we have right now is that I added a checkout view and checkout function, like a feature. And I've also added the feature to be able to clear when you're searching something in the inventory, you can clear now your search and don't have to do any unnecessary steps. I've also obviously added this price, which is not in the version that we've done in class. And so going through the shopping cart service that we've had, mostly the same as in class, though I do have a tax value that is 0.07 for the 7% tax that we had in assignment one. We have the subtotal, which is just going to be the quantity of each item, the quantity that we have in a cart of each item times the price, and we're adding that for each price for each item we have in our cart, and we're adding that to a total, and then rounding the two. Total price is just adding the tax to that subtotal. Then we have our current instance, the shopping cart service, as we've done previously in class, the adder update function, as we've done previously in class, return item, and then I've added this clear cart function that just clears the list of items in our shopping cart. And this is so that once we leave the checkout screen, the cart is now empty. Once we've checked out and those items are no longer in our cart or in the inventory. The product service proxy is, I believe, the same as we have done in class. It's mostly gone unchanged compared to the last assignment, with the exception of the adder update function being updated to compensate the edit in the inventory setting, in which now we're doing it based on index, and we're making sure that we don't edit items unnecessarily, and we're actually editing an item instead of adding a new one. But this is mostly the same. So moving on to models, we have with the inclusion of a different service, we now have an item, and each product is an item. And now we have inventory. We have items that are going to be in the inventory. We have items that are going to be in the cart. And so the quantity is a property of item here instead of previously it was a product quantity for the last assignment. And so we have a product. An item has a product inside. An item is a product, is what I mean. We have a product inside of an item. And so for the display, the only thing I've changed is that we display the price as well. I also display the price here as well. This is for when we're in our shopping cart and we're displaying our items. We want to be able to show the price, the quantity, and on the inventory as well as the shopping cart. In my version, the add on the side, the inline command, does not work, as I wasn't able to catch the fix that was done in class to make it work. And so in this version, it doesn't work, but I will add it on later. But as it's not a requirement for this assignment, I wasn't able to add it up in time. And so this code is mostly This line and this line and this is mostly unused. The product is mostly the same compared to class, except I've added the price and a get and set for the price, in which we set our price has to be greater than 0, and then we round the price to 2. I don't want the user adds. This is also mostly the same, just a little bit different, but mostly the same. The product DTO does not have to do with this particular version of the app. And so leaving our library, we're going to go into our Maui e-commerce. And so we have our view models. We have our inventory view model, in which we have our selected product that we're selecting, a query that we're going to enter for our search, our current service for our product, our current product, service, property change, so we update our view every time a property has been changed in the inventory. And so if a property has been changed, and if the property name is null, then we're going to throw a new property name, and then we're going to invoke uh, that new property name onto our current view model. Refresh product list is just going to call that notify property changed function in order to refresh our products list every time there's a change on it. And this is where that is our observable collection of products. And this is we're going to get our product service, and then we're going to get our filtered list, in which in this case, this is used for the search. And so when we search here, we're going to get the name in accordance to our query. We're going to get the name of our product that matches the query, and when we get that, that's now going to show up in the view in our list, in our new list, and that's going to be the filtered list. And delete works the same as always. We're going to delete that selected product that we have, and then we're going to notify property change to refresh our to notify that our inventory has changed and update accordingly, and we're going to return our deleted item. This is a function that I've added, which is clear search query, where we're going to make our query empty, and then we're going to notify property change and call notify property change to the name of our query in order to update that on the view that our query is now empty. We have our product view model. This is the model for when we are in the inventory, we're adding a new product, we're updating a product. This is where this is the data that is affected directly when we're doing that. So we have our name, our price, our quantity, our the model that holds all our values. Then which is an item. Then we're gonna add our update function, which just calls our add our update function in the current instance of our product service proxy. Same with undo. It's gonna call our add our update function, and that's gonna do that to our cached model, which is the unupdated version of our model, in case it's updated and we don't want it to be updated because we selected go back. Our product view model, it's going to have a model, which is our item, and then the cached model, which is going to be null when we use the constructor, the default constructor. Then we have a product view model constructor that takes in another model, and this we're gonna make our old model we're gonna make it equivalent to our new model, and then if the new model is not null, we're gonna make the cached model the new model as well. So now we have that version of the model stored. Our shopping management view model is This is not something we need. It's the same as the product view model, inventory view model in many ways, in which, but now we also are affecting the inventory. So we also have our inventory service here as well as a cart service, which in order to display our inventory and cart, and also in order to update it accordingly. We have our selected item from the inventory and our selected item for the cart when we're um, acting upon the inventory or the cart in our view. Our inventory observable collection item in order to update the inventory as needed, in order to update it as needed. Same for the shopping cart. If quantity is greater than zero, we're gonna be displaying it. Otherwise, we're not gonna be displaying it. Is basically what we're doing for these two. Um, Property change, we always want to be able to notify and update our properties that are being displayed in the view. And so we're going to use notify property change to always update our what we're showing on the view in order to not have a older version of our inventory or shopping cart being displayed when we don't want to. Refresh UX is just a function in order to refresh both our inventory and shopping cart at the same time. Purchase item is a function to add an item to our cart from our inventory, and so we'll be adding a cart item or removing an item from a cart depending on the add or update. Um, and then that's going to be our updated item. If we are doing something new, if we're not like removing an item, then we're gonna if we are changing an item or we are doing something with it, then we're going to both refresh our inventory and shopping cart. That means that the item quantity is greater than or equal to one. If it's not, then we're not going to refresh our inventory or shopping cart. Return item is to return an item to the inventory. Uh, if that quantity is greater than or equal to one, we should refresh, and so then we will be invoking notify property change if our updated item is not null. So the item we're returning is not null, meaning we do have that item. Then we're going to be refreshing. We're going to be returning that item and we're going to refresh our view. Same with the purchase item. If that item does exist and we are refreshing because we have a quantity greater than or equal to one, then we're going to refresh. Now these are new functions that I've added. This is what I've actually changed or added upon. And it's the checkout function in which we're going to call the clear cart function from before on the cart. And so we're going to clear the cart. And once we do that, we're going to refresh our inventory and shopping cart as now that's now changed. Refresh prices function is so that once we leave the checkout and we're going back to the checkout, we want our tax, our subtotal, and total to reflect that change into our like if we're entering with an empty cart into the checkout, everything's gonna be zero except for the tax. If we're gonna do a checkout for a different set of items, the values will be updated. If we don't refresh this, then the view is gonna stay the same, and the values displayed are all gonna be the same in the view. And so we have our tax, our subtotal, and total, and we're just returning the tax, subtotal, and total that we have in our shopping cart service. Now for our views. The checkout view, which is what I've changed in here, is similar to the shopping cart view in some ways. And so we are going to have uh, 9 rows in our grid. And so our first row is just going to be a large font. We're just printing out a receipt, basically. We're checking out. And so we're going to print out a text that says receipt. In our next row, that's where we're going to display the items in our shopping cart that we're purchasing. So we're going to bind our item source to the shopping cart. And so now we're going to have our list view. We're gonna make it 5 columns. And we're just going to display the ID, product, name, quantity, and price of each product that we have in our shopping cart. Mostly the same as how things are in our shopping cart. Back over here in our shopping cart view, mostly the same. Instead, we have a selected item because we're selecting items in our shopping cart view. And we have that for our inventory and our shopping cart in this instance. And it's mostly the same in our shopping cart view compared to checkout view. Moving on, our second row, we're going to have our total and subtotal. Our third row, we're going to have 2 columns for the percentage tax display, and then we're going to display the tax, 2 columns. Then our fourth row, we're going to have 2 more columns in order to display the grand total of the final purchase. And then our last 2 rows, row 5, row 6, we're going to have a little thank you message in row 5, and then we're going to have a button on row 6 in order to prompt the user if they want to go back to the shop. And if they click that button, we're going to check the code behind. And so our checkout view is a shopping management view model. Basically, it has all the same properties. That's what we're setting the binding context to. Our back to shop click button, which is the only button here, is going to call the checkout function from the shopping management view that clears the cart and refreshes the inventory. Then we're going to refresh our UX. So we're going to refresh the inventory and shopping cart now, and then we're going to go back to our shopping management view. Now this function is an override for auto appearing. So once the view is appearing, we are always going to be refreshing the prices and the UX in order to have once we're entering it, our prices are going to be accurate and our UX is going to be accurate. So we're going to display the right shopping cart, we're going to display the right prices, and not anything differently. Our inventory view model. Here it's mostly the same as class. We have our add button, our delete button, our go back button. We have 3 columns in this grid, in which one column is going to be the clear and the search. And then we have our items. So we're going to display the products, and we're going to have a selected product that we want to take upon actions of add, edit, delete, etc. We are going to display in the first column of that row our items with the display function. So it's going to display the name, price, and quantity. And then we have the inline commands of edit and delete that don't work so far. So we have that. And then for the search area, the search button is the same as before, but now I've added a clear. So when we click the clear button, the search is going to be cleared. Now the code behind, we're going to call delete function when we click delete. When we cancel click, we're going to go back to the main page. When we add click, we're going to go to the product. When we click add, we're going to go to the product view that we're going to see next. Context, when we navigate to the page, we're going to refresh our product list. When we click edit, we're going to go to the product view, and we're going to then edit our selected product. When we click search, we're going to refresh the product list in order to show our now new product list that we're showing filtered list based on the search. And then when we clear clicked, we're going to clear our search query. You call that function and refresh the list in order to show the original list that has no search query. Now we're going to do the product details. product details. Here we're just gonna have a label for name. We're gonna have an entry in order to enter the name, label for price. We're gonna have an entry to enter the price, a label for quantity. We're gonna have the entry for choosing our quantity for a new item, and then just okay and go back, and that's mostly just it. The code behind for this, we're gonna have our product ID. Go back is just gonna undo what we're doing. We're gonna call the undo function undo what we're going. We're gonna go back to the inventory management, and then okay clicked. We're gonna confirm that what we're doing. We're gonna call the add update function with the values that we have in here, and we're gonna go back to the inventory management. And then if our ID is 0, we're going to go to the product view model. If it's not, meaning it's not a new ID, then we're going to get that ID in order to display the correct item that we're editing. As I've already gone over the shopping view model, and then the code behind, we'll call the return item function when we remove from cart. When we add from cart, we're going to call the purchase function. When we add, we're going to refresh. When checkout is clicked, we're going to go to the checkout view that we've displayed. And then when we go back to the menu, we're going to display the main page. And I've also added this on appearing function override in order to refresh the UX every time the page appears, as when coming back from the checkout, the page wasn't refreshing. And so now when we come back from checkout, our shopping cart does update on the view, and it shows our now empty shopping cart. And so app shell, we've added the checkout a page and our view. And apart from that, everything else is mostly the same as in the homework assignment. So now we're going to run the program. I'm going to switch the share. And now I'm sharing the app. And so now let's start off by going to the inventory management. So now we have, as you see, our 3 products with the prices. We can add a product. So we can add a product 4 with a $6.99 price and 10 of those. We're going to add that. That's not displayed there. We can edit product 3. We can show it reflects that when we go back, it's not editing something as we did in class. We can now rename this product 300 with a $199 price. And now 9 ain't in stock. We have that. We can remove product 2, delete product 2, delete product 1. We can add another product 4, $3.99, $35.99 for 2 of those. And there we go. And now our search, we can do product 3. Search, gonna have product 300, product 4. Search, it's gonna have product 4. Product 2, search, nothing. If we want to change that product 4's name to product 5, as I accidentally named it twice the same name, we can do that now. Now I can show you the search of how I've done it. So I've done like product 3, and now you click search, and now it works as like a clear, and now it works as intended. So I'm gonna go back now. I'll go to the shopping version. Now we have our product inventory showing all our products. And so now let's say we want to add 5 product 300, 1 product 5, and 7 product 4s. We can do that. Now it's reflected in our shopping cart. Now let's say we want to remove that from the shopping cart. We can do remove 3, 4. And now it's reflected accordingly here. We go back, we go to the inventory, it's reflecting accordingly. And what's in the shopping cart stays in our shopping cart. So now let's say we want to, I've also added the main menu, go back to main menu button in the shopping view that we did not have before in the class version that we've done. As you can see, these buttons don't work, as I said before. And so now we have this. So now we go to checkout. We have our little receipt page. We have listed each item we're purchasing. Our total, 71.91. Percentage tax 7.7%. And then the grand total, 76.94. And then a thank you message and the back to shop button. Now we go back to shop. Our cart's now empty. Items are reflecting accordingly. I click checkout again. It's an empty receipt with zero, all is reflected. Now, if I want to add this last one, as you can see, it reflects accordingly. The item, when we are zero, is not going to be displayed in our inventory. Same with the checkout. When it's at zero, it's not going to be displayed. Now, let's say we want to purchase these over here. We're going to purchase again. Same thing. Our new receipt with the new values. Now, let's say we want to purchase just one product for it. New receipt with according and correct values. Same over here. Boom. Correct values. So now let's go to main menu. As you can see, we can also just restock. We're going to change the stock, restock. Let's just say 100. That's there. We're going to go back to shop, and now that's over there. Boom, 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 boom. Purchase. Gone. There you go. The only thing that I believe doesn't work, and it should be working, but I don't know why it's working. I plan to try and fix this, is that I delete the item that's already in the shop and it's deleted, right? But let's say I have this item in our shopping cart. So let's add more stock over here. Let's add 100 stock of this product. Go back to the shop, add this item, add like 5, go back to the main menu, delete that product, and go to the shop. And let's say we want to remove this from cart, the app does freeze. I do not know why. And so let's go back, and the product is just not there now. Like it's not added back. And that's the only thing that should work, but I believe doesn't work. But apart from this, the app works perfectly as intended, as in the assignment, and there's mostly no issues or bugs, as shown correctly. So that's it. Thank you.